Last week on Patreon, I did a video called How to Have a Good Marriage. And I basically said that you had to do two things. You had to give your wife a lot of babies, get her pregnant lots of times, and you had to give her a property, not give her necessarily like outright, but in the sense of giving her a property that she can fix up, that she can turn into a nest. Women instinctively, they want to have babies and they want to build a nest. And if you give them those two tasks, they'll take to it like a duck to water because it's natural to them. And they'll enjoy it. They'll enjoy it and they won't be thinking about their relationship with you. They won't be preoccupied and wondering, is it a good relationship or a bad relationship or any nonsense like that? No, she's going to be worried about the kids and the nest that she's building for the kids. And you'll get what you want, which is regular sex, domestic comfort and companionship, and children. That's what you want in a marriage, right? What you don't want in a marriage is for your woman to be working outside of the home. You do not want her working outside of the home, because if she's working outside of the home, if she's devoting a lot of her instinct and focus to her job, essentially she's halfway out the door of your marriage already. Okay? I mean, you have to understand this, because her focus is not on the shared thing that you and her are building, which is the children and the family. No, her focus is far away. It's on that job and the people involved in that job. Unlike a guy can work and put all of his focus into work and leave it behind and come back home and be thinking to himself that his real focus, his overarching ambition, is to provide for his family. A guy can do that, a woman can't, okay? In an odd way, women are monomaniacal. They focus on just the one thing. They can't focus on multiple things. Or more to the point, they can't recognize that doing some activity is not an end in itself, but a means to an end. Men are very good at that. Men are exceptionally good at realizing that all the time that they spend at work is for a higher purpose. Women don't. They look at it as an end in itself. And so if they're working outside of the home, they look at the work outside of the home as their true priority, not you and the kids that you have and the family that you're building. She spends most of her time at her job, whatsoever that job may be, and she will tend to view that that job is the important thing, and the family and her marriage to you and the home that you've built together is secondary. And it's not something that she's going to do consciously. She might have consciously all of the good intentions in the world, but her nature, the nature of women, will inevitably make them view the job as the important thing, and you and the kids that you two have and the family that you're building as secondary. A lot of guys don't seem to realize this. A lot of guys stupidly, idiotically think that it's a good thing that their woman has some outside job because it brings in more income. That is dumb. The cost of that income is the destruction of your marriage and family. In my own case, my wife doesn't work. I support this. Number one, because I can. And number two, whenever she thinks about working or whatnot, I kind of like give her something to occupy her time insofar as a task that's good for our family. Be it like remodeling a rental property or something like that, or perhaps developing like music lessons for the kids and looking into that. Some task that will soak up her attention, and pretty soon she forgets about getting the job. Yeah, you do not want your woman to have a job because you will become secondary. Remember, kids and a family, building a home is a full-time job as it is, okay? It's difficult, exceptionally time-consuming, especially if you want to raise kids right. Especially when they're teenagers, because you think that, oh, they're teenagers, we can cut them loose. No. That's the age when you really have to be on top of them and foment and inculcate the right values so that they become decent people and not whores and junkies. Because that's what happens with women who have an outside job. They don't pay that much attention to their kid because they're paying more attention to the job. And because of that, the kids, they sense it, they don't like it, they act out, they start fucking around, the girls, they start doing drugs and partying, the boys. It's a big disaster. You don't want that. The money she might bring in, it's not worth it. And there are lots of things that a woman who is dedicated to her family will automatically and naturally find out that she has to do. I mean, think of it. Most women who are working, they know that they are neglecting their family and they feel very guilty about this. And paradoxically, the more guilt they feel about it, the more they work, the more they dive into their work, their outside job, in order to forget and numb themselves to the fact that they are neglecting their family. And the family therefore suffers more. It's this vicious cycle. And on top of that, your woman is working outside the home, she's gonna meet other people. She's gonna have more opportunities to fuck around on you. Yeah, it's not that she's going to want to do this. It's not that she had this in mind when she started working. It's just a natural thing. She's gonna be spending more time with her coworkers than with you or the kids. Naturally, because you're gonna be working and she's gonna be working, and you'll see each other at the end of the day when you're tired. But she'll be at the office, at the job, with Joe Blow, spending 6 hours with the guy, and Joe Blow might be a decent guy who has no intention of fucking around with her, and she might be a decent person, a decent woman who has no intention of fucking around on you, but 6 hours every day together, working in some job where they're both, it's very intense and they're very focused, and a lot of emotional energy is poured into this joint project, and it's natural that they're gonna wind up fucking together, inevitably. Think of it. Joe Blow and your woman are on the job putting in all of this emotional energy into the job, the company, whatever it is. And they naturally come together. Doesn't that remind you of something? Doesn't it remind you of a marriage? Of two people building a family together? A joint project? Yeah. You see what's going on? The job becomes the marriage substitute, the family substitute. And you got to avoid that. You got to make sure that that doesn't happen, okay? And bottom line, if your woman is adamant about working, then you tell her, okay, then we divorce. Simple as that. Yeah. I mean, it seems drastic, but think about it. If your woman is at some outside job, she's working full-time in some corporation or some business or whatever, it's inevitable that your marriage is going to collapse. It happens all the time. You've seen it. You don't need me to tell you. And if you don't believe me, look it up. The statistics are there. See, women who work outside the home are far more likely to divorce, to initiate the divorce. And why do they initiate the divorce? Because they found somebody else on the job. That's what happens. It happens all the time. It's a cliche at this point, okay? So if your woman says, no, I want to work, then you tell her, then if you want to work, I don't want to be married to you. You lay it down. You lay it down, because if you don't, you're going to lose her anyway. And you make good on your threat, and she'll cave. That's the thing. That's the thing that guys don't realize. See? Because if you tell her, I will leave you, she'll call your bluff and you just move forward, she'll cave. She always does. Because that's the nature of women. It's the nature of women. They don't want to lose the man that they have. It's as simple as that. Understand what's going on and understand the tools that you have at your disposal. You can survive this, but you just have to have the balls to do it.